For many months now, Ukraine has seemed to be stuck in a grinding war with Russia. It's been using up its limited resources to try to stop Russian advances, while at the same time unable to claw back territory Putin has captured. But last week, Ukraine flipped the script when it launched an attack into Russia's Kursk region, capturing territory and taking soldiers prisoner. It is the biggest foreign incursion into Russian territory since World War II. Joining me to talk about it is Andrei Zagorodnyuk. He served as Ukraine's defense minister and is now chairman of the Center for Defense Strategies, a think tank in Kyiv. Andrei, welcome. Tell me, what is Ukraine's strategy in doing what it has just done?
So first of all, we'd like to move the problems to Russia, because so far the whole weight of the war, everything which is they're doing to us, it's been on the territory of Ukraine, and lots of their people are not even looking at that, not even paying attention to that. And Russia is feeling comfortable because essentially whatever they lose on our territory. Whatever they gain, and they popularize it, and they're telling this about this to the whole world. So we're bringing the war to that country in order for them to start diverting the troops from Ukraine and actually taking care about their territory rather than trying to grab ours. Ukraine does not need Russia territory forever. We don't have any kind of appetite to grab somebody else's land. What we need to do is we need to make sure that they fail at occupying ours.
You've talked to the soldiers in the field. What have you learned about the Russian army, Russian morale, as you conducted this operation?
So first of all, everybody was quite surprised because the area was very little guarded. There's been several units of conscripts and not much else. And of course, lots of them just ran away. The special forces from Ahmad Battalion, this is quite popular unit in Russian, they also ran away. And there was no resistance from the local population. Most of the people left, and right now, of course, there are fights. There are some units arriving from the other places, and it's not an easy operation at all. But at the same time, Ukraine has taken under control more territory of Russia than Russia over the last year, and Ukraine did it over a bit more than a week.
Somebody from the office of the president said that Ukraine is doing this in order to strengthen its hand at the negotiating table. He repeated the point you made: Ukraine has no ambition to acquire Russian territory. Do you suspect that negotiations are going to begin at some point, in the next year?
Ukraine has initiated a peace summit process in which there is a possibility that Russia will take part one way or the other. It's very difficult to say about the actual prospects of negotiations because a lot of Ukrainians, and including analytical community, are very skeptical about the actually ability of Putin to reach any constructive agreement and actually his ability to negotiate good faith. He has done enormous amount of war crimes, and apparently those war crimes showing that he is all in and he's not thinking about the getting things back to the normal. And that's why it's very difficult to imagine the zone of possible agreement between Ukraine and Russia in this situation. And but of course, if Russia is not diverting the troops right now and doesn't start to address that problem in Kursk, Ukraine may hold that land until the political settlement period. And it's very difficult to predict what happens then, but for sure there will be a major factor during that possible political settlement process.
And do you suspect that there will now be more Ukrainian incursions into Russian territory?
We certainly can say there will be more surprises to Russia because there is a strategic culture in Ukraine, and that strategic culture is all based on asymmetry, because Ukraine cannot fight against Russia, which is much bigger army with more resources, with more soldiers, particularly the way they treat their soldiers. They don't care if they die or get wounded, and we do. And a lot of more equipment and ammunition. And so for us to have a symmetrical war, that's not the road to victory. So we need constantly to be inventive, we constantly need to be innovative. And I cannot say what next operation will be, but the key thing is that it will be a surprise.
And finally, Andrei, give us a sense of the mood in Kyiv. What has this done to Ukrainian morale?
Well, the fact that people in Kyiv see that Ukraine went asymmetrical big time, that Ukraine is not focusing only on the playbook which Russia trying to impose on us, that we innovate, that we're bringing new types of warfare and new operations. Of course, it raises the mood, because for a while there's been a very exhausting war, which still is in the east. Whatever happens in Kursk, we still need to understand that in the east we have extremely difficult operations happening right now. But Ukrainian people see that there's still an element of surprise we can bring. There's still our commanders can come up with something innovative and shock Russians, and that of course raises the mood here.
Andrei, thank you so much. It's so insightful to hear from you on the ground in Ukraine. Next on GPS, how is Ukraine's incursion playing out in Russia? I'll ask the Russian journalist Mikhail Zygar.